Hey everybody, welcome to another Factional Flight update from the car. As you can see, I'm on my way home, driving away as I do every day, and I thought I'd turn on the video and just shoot off some ideas that are bouncing around in my head. It's been a while because we took a week off last weekend from streaming, mostly because I was away for the weekend. I was away with a bunch of friends, and so I was out of town. And Brian as well was busy that weekend. He couldn't record anyway. So, you know, we decided to push it off and just say we'll take a week off, and we'll get back to it this week. So we're gonna be streaming again. My plan is Friday. I really hope for Friday, and I think Friday's gonna work this week. Pretty confident about that. So that'll be tomorrow, I guess. Tomorrow evening we'll be recording and we'll be back at it, working on the deed. Since we recorded last, we have been doing a bunch of stuff. So I have been working on that little area. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the last episode I showed right near the top of the entire deed, I started digging this like big hole, not a big hole, but just like a platform down, so that it would match the rest of the land leading out. So I spent some time, quite a bit. It's like takes forever to get this stuff done, but I tried to widen that. I lowered it a little bit and widened it and made it all natural with the surrounding land. I'm still not 100% happy with exactly how it is, so there's some tweaking to be done, but for the most part I got the landing done. So that area, I have decided the first thing that I'm going to construct is going to be a stables, or like a animal place for the animals, essentially. And I'm starting to realize how much space animals need. It's kind of insane. So currently I have approximately a 5x5-ish area that I'm going to put a building on, and then it's actually a little bit wider than that, so I'm going to have like an area around it that's a little bit flat anyway. So far it seems like I can squeeze about 7 animal pens in there, 2x2s of course. So it would be sort of used for breeding pairs. You know, so I'll have 7 pairs of breeding animals, and our deed isn't that big, so the ratio is going to be an issue. The deed ratio for animals is going to be an issue, unless we decide to expand the deed, which we might do at some point in the future, to expand it back towards the road, which kind of makes sense because that whole area is flat-ish as well, and it's like right next to the road, so we can put a little entrance to the deed off from the main highway. Another option is we can expand out to the north. There's quite a bit of space that way as well, but we're blocked on the south. There's another deed there. One more thing I think that we can expand, one other area we could expand to is towards the water. So we didn't actually deed all the way to the water. We left about 5 or 6 tiles between the front of our deed and, I guess, the front of our perimeter and the water. So we can get a few extra tiles so that I can breed some more animals. I know that the small deed size is going to be an issue for if animal breeding is going to be one of my main focuses, which I think it is. I think animal breeding is something that I want to work on. I've been grooming the animals that we have, and I've been breeding a couple of them, but I don't have the space to keep them right now. So I think the next step is to build that building, get nice pens going. I'm going to probably also need another pen, like a biggish sort of like pen to put all the extra animals. But for now, we're going to be limited to the number of animals we can actually have due to the ratio. So that's where we're at. I know that Brian's been working at clearing up the lake area, the little pond area, even more. That's where we were last. We were mining that pond, and we did a bunch more work to try to smooth out the sides. It's not completely done. But the next step would be to try to come up with a way of placing buildings around that pond so that, you know, you get some nice vantage points of the nature scene, I guess, get a good scenery from the buildings that we put around there. I definitely have picked out my tentative spot for my own house that is near the pond, up on some landing, but I think that there's going to be a whole lot of terraforming that needs to be done in order to get the place to look just right. So yeah, hopefully you guys get to see it tomorrow if you're able to stop by the stream. So that's that. There was an update that happened recently. I'm not sure if it actually made it into the game, but the weekly update news, we got a little bit of sneak peek on that they're going to be adding the specular maps, the normal maps, to the armor while you wear them, which, man, looking at the images, it makes it look really cool. You know, the normal mapping and the specular mapping, that addition to the game has gone so far, and it's gone a long way to making the game look modern and nice, and just, it just looks so good. So I can't wait till everything is done related to the specular normal mapping. I'm also excited that we're going to be able to see the rarity glow on the armors, because if you've been watching our show, you know that one of the first things that happened to me after our reset was I was making some armor, and I imped an iron breastplate rare. So I know it's only iron, but nonetheless, for this situation, it just felt like $1 million to get a rare item like that. And now we're gonna get the ability to see that rarity glow, so I can't wait till that gets put into the game. Really excited about that. There's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. Like, for example, there was some issue going on in the forums regarding the journal entries, the journal system. And I was trying to figure out exactly what was going on, because I noticed this when we first were doing the journal stuff on the stream. I noticed that there was a bunch of stuff that I knew I had done before the journal, and they weren't ticked off. But then there were other things that I did before the journal got entered in that were automatically ticked off. So it was like, kind of like a weird... I thought it was weird at the time. I thought maybe, you know, that was just overlooked or whatever, but it seemed like the devs intended it so that anything that you had completed prior to the journal system, you would have gotten credit for that. So the journal system would already have checked it off for you. So that's the way it should have been. But I guess some things were bugged out. So they fixed the bugs, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people got a bunch of their journal entries checked off. Automatically, right? And this caused them to get really upset. And it was because, so I can kind of see the argument. So the argument going something like this. They were working on their journal entries, and they were saving on a bunch of tiers. They were saving one. They were just not doing that one. And they were waiting so that they could use up their sleep bonus. Because the moment you complete a tier, you get one of the rewards is you get some sleep bonus and a title. Okay, so you get some sleep bonus. So what they were mad at was that they were saving that one so that if, you know, when they use up their sleep bonus, they could just complete that one item and get the sleep bonus. But when they automatically rolled out all the, you know, entries that you've completed prior, it sort of completed a whole bunch of them, you know, tiers for some people who were in this situation, and so they got really upset. And then there was like this, you know, back and forth between like, you know, like, is this really something to get upset over? Like, it's a bug that they fixed and whatever. But I kind of do understand the perspective of those players. It sort of seems like a running thing with this game where an update comes out, but it's like, you know, something's wrong with it, and so you know, them changing this particular one partway through did affect people negatively, and I kind of feel as though something should have been addressed there. Like, some solution should have been, I don't know what could have been done. Maybe one thing that could have been done was, at that time, they could have changed the reward to be, instead of sleep bonus, a sleep powder, for example. Right? Like, why can't the reward be a sleep powder, which effectively gives you the same reward, except for with the added bonus that you can, I suppose you can sell sleep powder. That's the only difference, right? But sleep powder is not really all that valuable. Like, I think one sleep powder, you'd be lucky if you're going to get 1 silver for 1 sleep powder nowadays. Most often I see people selling a bunch of sleep powder for less than a silver each. You know, like buy 10 sleep powders and for 8 silver or something like that. So I wouldn't see giving out the sleep powder instead being a game-breaking thing. And that way, somebody who's getting this reward, who doesn't normally use up all their sleep bonus, still gets the same sort of benefit as somebody who does. You know, the benefit would be that they have the sleep powder that they can hold on to and use whenever they need it, or sell it and get 80 copper or whatever. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. I don't feel like it should have been dismissed so much. Like, so many people just dismissed this complaint, but I think it was a valid complaint. At least my feeling was that it was valid. It didn't happen to me, or I haven't even checked. So personally, I don't really play the sleep bonus game that much anymore, really. Mostly because I don't play enough. So I'll log out, and by the time I come back, I have full sleep bonus almost every single time. But I can see first, you know, I kind of remember during those days when I was grinding my skills and I was using my sleep bonus and anxiously waiting for it to come back, that it really did make a difference when I was able to get any extra sleep bonus during those grindy times. So I kind of understand the complaint, and I think it should have been sort of addressed in a better way than just ignoring it. That's my opinion. But nonetheless, the journal seems to be working fine now. People are on to the next thing to complain about, I guess, which is the priest journal entries. So that got changed in a recent update. It had something to do with what was it? The right casting the rites or whatever. I think you get one of the journal entries is that you have to cast one of the rites, which is kind of insane because those things really can only be cast once every, I don't know, not very often, like months maybe. Once every few months or a couple months or whatever it is. It's like a long time. And only one person gets to cast it on the entire server. So if there's, you know, 20 people waiting to cast this thing to get this reward or whatever, you get put on the end of the list, and you're waiting 20 months. That's like 2 years. You're waiting insane amounts of time. So the change that they made to that, I think, might address the issue to a degree. They made it so that you don't have to be the one who casts it. You just need to be one of the priests who were linked during the cast. So I'm not sure if this is going to completely alleviate it because, well, I think you need, 4 priests to link? Unless they're all 100 faith priests, in which case you only need 3. I think it's a 300 faith cast or something. So let's say you have 4 priests casting every few months. I guess the only way that this would make it, like, feasible is if you're allowed to link many more priests than the 4 that you need or whatever. Like if you can link 10 priests together and then cast it, and then you get credit for that, I think that would make it okay. But I have a feeling that the more you link, the more difficult the spell is to cast. I think that's the way it works. So with these rites, I know they cost like an insane amount of favor, and you know, you could be failing over and over and over again simply because you're linked up with so many priests, and that makes it so much more difficult. I don't know. I have yet to be a part of the casting of the rite spells, so I don't know how that really goes or how that's going to be affected. Nonetheless, only time will tell, so we'll see what happens. I don't really have any hope that I'll be getting these journal entries on my priest, simply because I don't play my priest enough. I don't think I play enough to really be, you know, actively able to schedule in, like, you know, on the June 7th we can cast the rites again, so getting that all organized with the server and everything like that, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll get lucky one day and meet the right people and whatever it is, but as it is now, I feel like my priests are gonna just sit out this one. The other priest journal entry that is being talked about is the prayer. Getting your prayer to 70. Boy, that one's a rough one to swallow, I think. because it goes up so slowly. And I have prayed a lot with my priests, so I kind of know how it is. I think there was a period of time where I was praying for insane amounts of time simply to collect gems. So I just sit there and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and collect the gems. And I think I got my prayer up to 45, I want to say, something in that range, 40s, somewhere in the mid 40s. And it started going real slow after that. So to get it to 70, I don't see that being a feasible feat, at least for me. I'm not sure about other people, but I was reading about how people were literally sitting there spamming pray forever, and they linked their skill gains, and it was just dismal. So yeah, I'm curious to know how the devs will respond to that one, whether or not they'll adjust something about it. You know, I'm not sure how they can do it, but I do kind of find it interesting that they made prayer the spell that you need to get the skill up. I haven't quite looked at the priest journal entries yet, so maybe you do need to get channeling up as part of it as well. But I would say that it's more feasible to get your channeling to 95, like way more feasible to get your channeling to 95 than it is to get your prayer to 70. I'll take the channeling to 95 any day over prayer to 70, because I feel like that's doable. Channeling to 95, that's doable. Prayer to 70, I don't see that being doable. I mean, mostly because the motivation isn't there, right? Like, woohoo, got prayer to 70. What do you get for that, aside from the journal entry completion? Like, nothing. There's like no motivation. I don't see the benefit of prayer to 70. Anyway, that's my thoughts. What else? I know I've been talking a lot about streaming other games. I have been wanting to. It's just a matter of timing. Like, I just don't have the time to. I really do like the idea of sharing with you Factorio. I feel like this game needs a lot more attention, because there is something about the design of that game that is just brilliant, and I kind of want to share it with everybody. It's just a matter of like getting a moment to stream it, and that's something that I'm struggling with right now. I'm trying to stay committed to the Fridays on Worm, and so that's sort of keeping up. Aside from last week, we've been streaming quite consistently since the beginning of the restart, and even a little bit before that I was doing some other games and stuff. But Factorio is a game that I'm interested in sharing. There was another game that came out that I was watching some Twitch streamers on, that I was also really interested in. It's called Outlaws of the Wild West or something like that. It's a brand new game. It just hit early access, so it is an early access game. But what I'm noticing is that the devs are extremely on top of updating. It's almost like every day there's an update, because they're really pushing. It seems like a very passionate team that's pushing out this brand new game, and it's like a cowboy-based game, like a Wild West, you know, mid 1800s. But it's a survival / open world type game that has official servers, and it has open construction. So you kind of like how Worm is, like you can make things look exactly how you want them to. You know, I'll place a wall here, and on top of that wall I'll put like a staircase, and like you can put whatever you want wherever you want. And there's different roof types and stuff, so you can make the roof like rounded or just like however you like. There's like so many options, and right now it's still in early development, so there's a lot of bugs and there's a lot of like, but you can see that the devs are actively working on getting rid of all those bugs and making things all balanced and streamlined, and getting the servers stable and getting everything like, so I'm keeping a really close eye on it. I did drop the money to buy it to support the development of this game, because I really feel like the genre of open world sandbox, you know, we need more attention on this genre. We need more people looking into this genre. Of course, I know that people look at it as it's competitive. You know, it's a direct competitor to Worm, but at the same time, if a brand new game comes out that opens people's minds to open world sandbox games, you're just going to see a massive market increase in open world sandbox games. And I can't see how that can be bad for Worm at all, right? Some players might go try that game, but you're also going to find people who try that game, see, oh, it's in early access, it's not quite done yet, but if they get that flavor for open world sandbox, they're going to start looking at other open world sandbox, and they're going to stumble upon Worm if they do that. So you know, I think that more of these types of games that are good and well executed are definitely essential for the genre to stay thriving. And this game has it all, like everything that you would want in an open world sandbox game. It has it, you know, official servers, it has PvP and PvE servers, and it has roleplay servers. And if you ever, I encourage you to go look up a roleplay Twitch stream of this game. It is hilarious. These guys get so into character on these roleplay servers, and the game just lends itself to roleplay. Like, it's just it's so phenomenal. It's phenomenal to watch. It makes great streams. I watched this one, I think the guy's name was the Gooch, and he played the role of the sheriff in the town that they had built, and all the other people in the town are like have their own little roles. So and you know, part of the stream that I was watching, he was like introducing a new character, a new player to his town, and he was showing him the ropes and giving him a gun, and you know, getting him accustomed to all the stuff that he could do. And then you know, he starts heading back, and he wants to go buy a bunch of iron for his town because he's running low on iron. So he goes and finds this other guy and they start talking to each other, and he's like, you know, trying to negotiate buying iron from this guy, but they're all role playing, so they're all playing their character. So it kind of felt like they were telling this story. This story was unfolding about this mayor who's trying to help his town, and it was just great. It was great. It made for great Twitch stream, and that stream, I think, is what made me buy the game, because I saw the potential that the game has. And you know, I tried it out. I tried the single player. I thought it was solid in terms of, like, you know, I didn't encounter any bugs and anything like that. I went over to the official servers to start out a character there, and I found it was a little laggy. Like the server wasn't communicating properly, so I thought I'd just put it away for now. I'll let the developers develop it a little bit more, get the server stable more, and then I'll go try it again at some point. So that's where I left it. Because as I said, it's in early access, it's early development, so it still seems like it has a ways to go before it's a completed game, but devs are working on it, and seems exciting. So I might share that one with you guys. I don't know. Factorial is definitely my number one. Got to show that. I really do feel like I need to get to a point where I can do that. So I don't know. Maybe next week I'll look into it. We got a long weekend coming up at some point, so maybe we'll do it at some point then. That's it for me, I think. I haven't really been, there hasn't really been all that much going on for us in Worm right now. We log in every so often, tend to the crops, tend to the animals, do a little bit of digging and terraforming. I can't wait till we get to the point where we start building again and get the structures up. I'm going to do the stables, and then the next thing is my house. And I have some ideas for my house. Kind of excited to get to that point too. But of course, it all comes with making all the materials and so on and so forth. It takes time. And the way we play Worm, projects take years. They take years. So that it's no different now, you know, plugging away a little bit at a time, keep the end goal in mind, and just keep working at it. And you know, we've had the experience that stuff just eventually gets done. It's just, you know, it's gonna take some time. hope you guys are enjoying the restart, the reboot, because I am. I'm for sure. I find myself really thinking about long-term plans again about about the game. You get to the point in Worm when you've completed a lot of the long-term goals that you had, and then at that point, that's when things start slowing down for at least me. Like when just after I completed a long-term goal, it just I'm directionless at that point. Like I can log in, I don't know what to do, and I try to do something, but it's not to any end. But then the moment that you create that next long-term goal, the moment that project is in sight, and you're at the beginning of the project, and you see like, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and then that, and this, and then every time you log in, there's some meaning to what you're doing. You're going to chip away at a little bit of this project, and I think that that's the thing that I really love about Worm. It's those big projects and the progress that you feel. It's like you move that progress bar across a little bit, just a couple % each time, and slowly but surely over long periods of time you get stuff done, and you look back on it and you see the fruits of your efforts. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it now, and it's going to be a long journey, but we'll get there, and hope you guys keep joining along for the ride. So until next time, you guys keep on worming, and yeah, I'll see you on Friday. Have a good one.